Ryan Coogler is back with a new movie, Sinners, and it has an ensemble cast, an amazing cast featuring Michael B. Jordan, Hailee Steinfeld, Miles Caton, the new Miles Caton, this is his debut performance, Delroy Lindo, Wunmi Mosaku from Loki and Deadpool and Wolverine, and Omar Benson Miller from HBO's Ballers with Dwayne Johnson. So it is truly an ensemble cast, but make no mistake, Michael B. Jordan rules this movie, and I'll get into that a little bit later. One of the things that's truly unique about this movie is that it was written, produced, and directed by Ryan Coogler, who continues to prove what a jackass I was for even doubting him that he'd be able to go from doing stuff like Fruitvale Station and Creed, the Creed franchise, to directing a full-blown cinematic blockbuster in Black Panther. Not only the fact that he wrote, produced, and directed it, but the fact that it's one of a few original screenplays and original stories. Is not a sequel, it's not a prequel, it's not based on another IP. This dude created this and put it on screen fabulously. In my opinion, Coogler has brought black horror back from when Jordan Peele first opened the door with Get Out. Now, I can't help but make the comparison, not to take anything away from Coogler, but it's almost like he sat down and watched From Dusk Till Dawn at some point and decided he wanted to do something with that story or take it further. I'm not taking anything away from him, but there are some very clear similarities to that film directed by Quentin Tarantino. But the similarities are shallow at best, because even though the third act mise-en-scène is pretty much exactly the same as it was in From Dusk Till Dawn, and the scenario, the action that takes place is very similar, Coogler transcends what Tarantino did because of one of the most brilliant things about this movie. He adds the element of the Delta blues, black music, black cultural foundation of music in the blues. That's one of the standout things about this movie, is its soundtrack. The soundtrack alone, created by Coogler's collaborator Ludwig Göransson, I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly, it is literally mesmerizing. I'm thinking about going to see this movie again. I just saw it a couple days ago, but I'm thinking about going to see it again tomorrow, simply to get back into that world that Coogler created, and the infusion of the music that he brings into the world that he created. Now, this may be a mild spoiler. When the movie starts, there's a voiceover, and I couldn't identify whose voice it was. I don't know if it was one of the ensemble characters, but they make the point, they establish the fact that music has the power to open the past and the future to spirits. And it also has the power to open this realm to evil. And I'm really paraphrasing that. The potential spoiler, is that this movie is about vampires. So that suggests that the vampire, or vampires, I don't want to give too much away, they pierce the veil between their world and this world through the power of the music. And like I said, the music plays a huge, momentous character in this movie. My logical side says that that's kind of a flimsy premise to get vampires into the world building that Coogler does. As the movie progresses, you gotta respect, well, I should say, I gotta respect what Ryan did with that premise. Music is a character in of itself in this film. Like I said, I'm gonna go see it again just for how he incorporates music alone. And even if I think that is a flimsy premise, I love what he did with it. There is a scene that is a headbuster. And by the way, Ryan Coogler does amazing things with the camera. He really is a master with the camera. But there's a scene where the camera is, I'm going to say it's on a crane, and you see down into the juke joint party. And the music is pumping. It starts off with Delta blues. And then all of a sudden, I'm not going to spoil anything, but we get cameos of characters who represent characters that shouldn't be there. And so it was Coogler's way of incorporating that whole premise, that the good music, good music from the soul, the spirit, can bridge the gap between the past, the present, and the future. And visually, it is crazy, but it is so beautiful. The other thing is Göransson, the composer, he seamlessly weaves or mixes the different genres of music together. So, I don't want to say much more, but when you hear it, when you see it, you will know it. It's probably the best shot, the most beautiful shot in the whole film. So now let's talk about Michael B. Jordan and how incredible he is in this movie. He is the star of this film, full stop. Even though it's an ensemble cast, he's that guy. For me, at least, is his best performance to date. Now, he was good in Fruitvale Station. He was good in the Creed films. He was excellent as Killmonger in the Black Panther. But the one thing those three roles did not really require is for him to show a lot of range. They required him to be sullen, dour, on the offensive or on the defensive most of the time. And that's what those roles called for. But here, we see Michael B. Jordan playing a character who is charming, a hustler. He enjoys things. He smiles. He's a mentor in one particular scene. He's full of charm, but his charm can turn on a dime. Now, it just proved to me that, okay, finally, he's got a role where he can show or expand his range. This tells me he can play just about anything. And not only does he prove that he can just about play anything, he definitely does it in this film because he plays two characters in this movie. Mild spoiler, Michael B. Jordan plays twins. Think about The Social Network, the movie about Mark Zuckerberg and the starting of Facebook, and the Winklevoss twins. What they did with Armie Hammer. They do the same thing here in this movie, and from a technical standpoint, from a visual standpoint, it looks absolutely seamless. But what really sells it is that Michael B. Jordan's performance makes you believe that he is actually able to clone himself and play two different characters. You don't feel like he's doing the same thing twice, or like he's just imbuing this character and this character with the same traits. No, you get a clear delineation about which brother is which. And I just found it amazing that I was watching Michael B. Jordan, at least in the first act of this film, look like he's having fun in the role. He really convinces you that there are two people on screen, even though it's played by the same actor. The two characters' names are Smoke and Stack, and like I said, they're twin brothers. And Michael B. Jordan buries himself in that role, so it is not distracting that you know that it's the same actor because he imbues both of them with different characteristics. They're both kind of cut from the same cloth. You just believe that they were two different characters, I keep repeating myself, being played by the same guy. I think Michael B. Jordan deserves to get an Oscar nomination for this role, and I think he deserves to win it. I'll go even further. Why not? I think this film should be nominated for an Oscar, and I think it should have a good chance of winning, given that there are 10 different slots now, 10 slots for best film. Give it a nomination because I think it deserves it. All the performances, excellent. Omar, Benson, outstanding. Delroy Lindo, I have to admit, I'm not that big a fan of his, but I did like him in Get Shorty. I loved him in that movie. But other than that, I was never been that impressed with him until this movie. He kills it in this film. Miles Caton as Sammy, unbelievable. My understanding from seeing another review is that he is a musical prodigy, and that definitely comes across in this movie. His character is one of the central characters that delivers a fantastic performance in this movie. And what's really a headbuster is that I'm hearing that this is his first film, his debut in film, which is just amazing. That's unbelievable. Look for a scene between Miles Caton as Sammy and Jamie Lawson as Perline. a woman that he has a love interest with. It's a scene that's getting a lot of buzz, a lot of talk. It should also get a nomination for Best Cinematography because the filmmaking is beautiful. I talked about the sprawling camera, the crane shots that brilliantly captivate the energy of the juke joint. There are scenes that really display the beauty of this area. I think it's shot in Mississippi. But there's one scene, I don't know, maybe I was focused on the wrong thing, but there's a scene where the twins, Michael B. Jordan playing the dual roles, and Sammy, the guitar player played by Miles Caton, they're in their little, their car, and they're driving someplace. And Sammy auditions for Stack right there with his guitar or his banjo. And Stack is just amazed at Sammy's talent. But what really drew me to that scene was the cinematography, because they're driving on a dirt road in a cotton field. You just see the vast field of cotton in the distance as it's going by them, and it almost looks like they're floating. Because when I don't remember seeing the car in the frame that much, but I just remember being imprinted on that field of cotton. And it just, I don't know if there was a statement to be made there, but it was just so visually stunning. Just a number of shots like that. And that segues me into another thing I'm going to point out. There's a shot, and this is a mild spoiler, where we see the vampires converging onto the juke joint from outside. You've seen this shot in the trailer. You know, we know what vampires do, all right? And we see that in the film, so I'm not spoiling anything there. But when you see, you know, how bloody things get, and then you see that shot of them converging onto the juke joint, and then we cut around to see the vampires, and some of them have blood on coming out of their mouths and so forth. It's, to me, what I got from that was it's a commentary on fan worship or rabid worship of our musicians and our celebrities, because again, it's the fact that the music is the conjuring force for these evil spirits. And so to see them walking like that in a crowd, it just brought to mind crowds that get unruly, get out of hand, they trample to get to the stage. People may get injured or killed because people just lose their minds because they got to get to the stage and just try to grab the guy or the girl on stage. He does a lot of Scorsese in the first act with people walking across the street to get to this store, or walking across the street to get to that store. It's almost like he's talking about people, you know, the long tracking shots of people walking across the street. It's almost like he's talking about or making a comment about people who live on different sides of the track. That's what makes this film so beautiful, is that you can interpret so many different things with the way these shots are laid out. I'd love to see the storyboards for this movie. They've got to be pretty intricate. But yeah, give this film a nomination for cinematography as well. Now, the one thing that did kind of, I don't want to say it bothered me, but it was like, what was the purpose of that? And not to give too much away, but in the beginning of the first act, it is suggested that there are Native Americans who are searching for something. We see them approach a house, and a woman opens the door with a rifle or a shotgun, which suits the fact that, you know, it's probably a little bit of racism there, and there's a Native American standing at her door. And then the Native Americans leave, and they're never seen again. And I'm thinking, seems like they could have come back in the third act to play a part in the climactic scene that occurs throughout the third act, but they don't. So I'm thinking, why introduce them if you're not going to do anything with them? I mean, my understanding from my film and video classes in college is that you want to live by the rule of economy of characters. Don't introduce characters that don't serve any purpose or much of a purpose. If you want to keep it lean, only include characters that progress the story. And they did not in any way, shape, or form. And they were interesting characters. There's a story to be told about them as well, but we don't get anything from them. Now understand, in no way, shape, or form did that detract from my experience watching this film. Spike Lee says he doesn't think this is a horror film. He thinks that Ryan Coogler has invented a whole new genre of film. I'm going to give this movie 4 out of 5 reels, and I highly recommend you go see it. Go see an original property, one that's not a sequel or another based on this or that. It's a totally auteur film by Ryan Coogler. All right, tell me what you think, okay? All right, I'll see you soon. Take care.